Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to our special class on using essential oils during pregnancy. Pregnancy is a very special time in our lives when we are growing new life within us. It's a time when it feels more important than ever to take care of ourselves and to be aware of what it is that we're putting in and on our bodies. Today's class is going to offer some of those non-toxic solutions and options that you might not ever have considered or thought of before. And will even help you learn about how you can access those options for yourself at the end. So a little bit about my history with oil. I've been using essential oils for about 4 years, but my most impactful experience happened about 2 years ago. Long story short, my 2-year-old was born and got very sick shortly afterwards and had to go to the hospital. He was very sick. He almost died. He was on ECMO, and as a result of this, he ended up being on high doses of opioids and benzos, and he was addicted to them therapeutically, and they had to put him through a weaning process. So for 2 weeks, they were weaning him. And my friend Amanda, which I will introduce to you in a minute, she brought me an oil roller bottle that was supposed to help with withdrawal symptoms. And the 2 weeks were tough to watch. But at the end of them, when we finally finished the process, the pharmacist came in that day during rounds and told me after we were finished that she was amazed that in all her years, she had never seen a baby go through the withdrawal process so smoothly without having any hiccups or needing to go back up on a dose for a day and then come back down and just sail through the treatment. At that point, I confessed that I'd been rolling essential oils on him throughout the whole process to help him along. And she was thrilled because she said she loved it when people use natural solutions alongside of the pharmacological ones. But that was really empowering to me to see that just that little thing that I was doing helped him so much and helped him get home from the hospital faster. All right, so now I'm going to introduce Amanda. She's a dear friend of mine and the person that I learned all my essential oil knowledge from. She's been inspired to empower people to find natural solutions, and I think she does an amazing job, even with being a mom to 5 kids. Amanda?
Thanks so much. It kind of makes me smile, but I also remember visiting you in the hospital at that time. And man, the tears, I think that, from then. And thank you also for the endorsement of, being the person that you learned so much from. I do feel like you really give me a run for my money because you're so good at researching and just being able to put stuff into practice. And so, I feel like your husband, your kids I just really respect the job that you've done getting them empowered and equipped. And I feel like that's part of the big deal that means so much to me these days is, when I was young, around 12, I had this really serious bout with pneumonia, and it lasted so long that it actually scarred my lungs like crazy. And so even into my college years, it was pretty predictable. I was going to get bronchitis or pneumonia, one of the two, or both, several times a year every winter. And the reason for that is because when I had very first started, my mom, which thank the Lord that she does have these ideals, but she didn't want me to go to the hospital. She didn't want me to get mixed up in the medical system and things like that. But she also did not have solutions that she could put into place to keep me from needing to use the medical things. And so I have learned over the years that I want to keep that ideal for trying the natural things first, and being so thankful that there are hospitals when we really need them. I want to be there and I want to have my kids there and stuff like that. But for many of the minor things, 80% of our medical issues can really be treated at home. And when they're super small level before they expand into something big. And I feel very equipped now that I have the solutions and I can teach my kids about that as well. And so it kind of has changed the way that I look at essential oils specifically, because it's not just about having them and thinking that they're great and that they're like more ideal than medication. The deal is you have to take that next step, be courageous, do the research, and get involved in communities that are going to be like facilitating you really getting to know and feel confident in those natural solutions. So that's actually what I've been wanting to do. And that's why today, as we're going to talk about some pregnancy essential oil usage, I can't wait to help you guys kind of get the lowdown on this, and to get you with your own solutions in your own homes, that toolbox is ready to be used at a moment's notice. So I'm going to share my screen real fast, and we're going to walk through the basics. Many of you who've already done a little bit with essential oils, this may be super basic for you, but we're just going to take 5 minutes and go over some of the really simple stuff. That way we're all starting kind of from the same level. So essential oils made easy. There's 3 cool things about essential oils, and I'll know if I've done my job, if you can go away and tell me the 3 cool things about essential oils. Like, honestly, this should be simple enough that you can like whisper it to your husband, 3 cool things about essential oils, and he can tell his buddy, and then like your kids will overhear and they're all talking about it. Okay, so it's super simple. 3 cool things about essential oils, the 3 ways to use essential oils, the 3 ways to get essential oils. And then after that, it kind of changes because all of us have our own very individual, specific needs for our family, for our budget, for our particular, body chemistry. And many times because our bodies don't respond the same way to even to medications, much less to food, right? Some people have sensitivities to things, some don't. And so there's so much that is very customizable, and that we really love to have kind of a little bit of a coaching kind of experience to help people work through in a community kind of way to know what's really good for them. So here are 3 cool things about essential oils. They are super safe. They are natural, and they don't actually have side effects when you use them properly. We do have many resources about how to dilute them so that you are using them properly and feeling confident. But the things that you need to understand for today are these extracts from plants have amazing health benefits. And the fact that the doTERRA is CPTG, certified pure therapeutic grade, means that they're pure and potent. In fact, something that you often don't find is this is the doTERRA Source to You website, where you can enter in the code that's on the bottom of all of our bottles, and it can tell you specifically what when it was harvested, all the chemical constituents, and often there's like 82 or more markers that they're looking for. And this is actually available for anybody to look at. And that kind of transparency to show you how pure and how potent it is a huge, huge deal that is not offered by other companies. Okay, so this is Source to You. I would love you guys to go to this website and just take a look at some of the interesting stories about the growers and how we're getting these things, about the distillers, and I mean, there's lots of things you can go into if you have a special interest in any of this. Okay, so back to being safe, right? Certified pure therapeutic grade. You don't get that marking, that credential without a lot of extra testing. And I love, love, love that doTERRA is so, so good about that. Do you guys realize that essential oil is super powerful? Now, 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. And that is huge. And also like the fact of it being so energizing, so great for clear breathing, and how it cools the body and relieves head tension. Those things are sometimes ones that you may have already heard of in advance, right? Some people have experimented with something that they got from Whole Foods, or something that they picked up from a friend or something, right? You may or may not have received a package, a little kit that has some goodies in there. And if you did, I would love for you to open up the jam of Aroma Touch. This happens to be one of my pregnancy favorites. Peppermint is one of the ingredients in here, and it is true that there are some women who feel that this reduces their milk supply, not this specifically, but the peppermint could reduce milk supply for a short-term time frame. So if you happen to be pregnant and nursing at the same time from your previous child, or plan to or need to actually do that at the time, like you'll want to be careful. But other than that, this is like magic. It happens to be something that I loved during my last pregnancy. I am the mother of 5. I don't know if Natalia mentioned that she actually is the mother. Go ahead, you tell them.
I'm a mother of 6, but I also have another on the way.
Yes, that's the one. Okay, I actually I didn't want to like spoil it if you weren't telling, because like now it's recorded, but now everybody knows. Surprise, Grandma. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and both Natalia and I both agree that this is one of our favorites, this Aroma Touch. So cypress is the main ingredient. It does have peppermint, lavender, marjoram. So if you put one of those jam taps on in your hand, rub it together and go ahead and put it on the back of your neck, tops of your shoulders. I tend to carry a lot of my tension there, so this has been very, very helpful for me. And if you have any spots like lower back, for example, that tended to be another place that I had to use this quite often. And we'll talk exactly about how to use it in just a moment when we get into the 3 ways to use it. But for now, go ahead and just take a minute and breathe it in. Already I kind of feel like it's doing a little bit of work. So I hope you guys are experiencing that as we go. Okay, back to sharing the screen. We're going to talk about how effective essential oils are. You guys may or may not realize that there's a special thing about essential oils, about how they can permeate the cell membrane. And the way, we're going to super simplify this. So if you have some medical professionals out there who are watching this, you'll probably be like, well, that's oversimplification. But humor me just so that we can kind of break it down to the bare essentials. Essentials, get it? So when you are talking about cells, there's basically 2 things that are going to try to affect that cell poorly, that cause some sort of dis-ease. You're going to either have bacteria, which congregates on the outside of the cell and tries to attack from the outside, or you can have the virus, which unfortunately is inside the cell and is much, much harder to navigate treatment for, right? And that cell has this oily membrane, right? The cell membrane is keeping the things that are supposed to be outside, and the things that are in stay inside. So if you go to a doctor and you have a bacterial infection, Natalia, what is the doctor going to give you for a bacterial infection?
Probably going to be an antibiotic.
You're right. Yep. So it kills that bacteria and everybody goes home happy. A little bit of a gut imbalance, so you want to use some probiotics for later. But in general, it's going to kill the bacteria that's on the outside. What happens if you have a viral infection?
They're going to tell you to go home, drink plenty of water, and rest.
You got it. Yep. Yeah. So we don't really have a super effective way in the medical world to be able to cross that oily cell membrane. And so basically you just kind of let it run its course. It eventually kind of peters out and you get better and it's fine. So here for essential oils, the thing that's so different is that it does go through that cell membrane. And that's what makes it so effective. Essential oils are able to address the root cause of many health problems because of being able to cross that barrier. And so On Guard is one of the awesome doTERRA blends that promotes healthy immune function. It soothes irritated throat. It's very cleansing for the home and for the hands. This is one that that many of us use often, and is actually in many of our cleaning products and toothpaste and all the things, because it's just such a good, helpful, effective blend. The third cool thing about essential oils is that they're affordable. You probably are aware that the global healthcare program is really outrageously expensive, right? You guys, actually go ahead and tell me, Natalia, what do you pay as a copay if you have to go to the doctor for something?
Well, actually, I'm one of the fortunate ones that don't have to pay a copay. So, but I know that not everybody is that lucky.
Yes, but that's okay. Even, sometimes when I ask people, they're like, oh, it's 40 for me, or it's 65, or it's 12, or it's 8. But even if it's 0, if you're like live in Canada and you have the whole United healthcare, whatever, we'll go ahead and still take that example. So $0 to actually see a doctor. And then what happens if you have to get that antibiotic prescribed to you, for example? Do you have a pharmacy amount that you have to pay?
Yeah, usually between like $10 or $20.
Okay, cool. That seems like it's actually pretty average too. I mean, there's occasionally more, but all right. So when I have an issue, say one of my kids has an ear infection, for example, I will take a drop of lavender, a drop of tea tree. I'll usually dilute it a little bit, and I'll put it on their skin in front of and in behind of both ears. And then I send them to bed. And it's really, really surprising. So when they wake up, I always try to remember to do it a second time. But basically, the earache's gone. And with only 64 cents of worth of oils from my own toolbox, at home, like these solutions I'm empowered with, it only took me 64 cents to be able to treat that, instead of any kind of copay, any kind of pharmacy costs. But even more than that, and I'll tell you, this is actually a bigger deal for me, honestly. The fact that I didn't have to, take off work. I didn't have to load everybody up in the car. I didn't have to chance the fact that most often a lot of other sicknesses are picked up by your kids while they're in the doctor's office or whatever, right? So there's many, many things that I feel like are an extra advantage. And so the financial 64 cents is just one of the awesome things. Hey, can you tell me, Natalia, what are the 3 cool things about essential oils?
They are safe,
Yeah,
they are effective, and they're affordable.
you're the best student ever. Way to go. Okay, cool. All right. Now, lavender happens to be, I should probably give you a gift. I should give you some lavender or something like that. I'll figure out some way to reward you. Okay, so but lavender is common for the mind, for the skin, and it's very soothing. You guys have probably already heard several stories about lavender, so I won't belabor it. That happens to be one that's a little bit more popular. Now, this is the part where we're going to talk about the 3 ways to use essential oils, and these are not true for every single oil on the market out there, because this internal one that we add over here. So really quickly, we're going to go through the idea of aromatic, topical, and internal. And again, unless you are able to go to that Source to You website and figure out where your lemon and your wild orange and things like that are coming from, don't try the internal thing at home, okay? All right, so back to, skipping ahead, hang on, there. So aromatic, the benefits of these are you can just positively affect your mood, you can cleanse the air, open the airways. Wild orange is a great way to start experiencing some of that. We actually chose lemon, but I'm gonna go ahead. So in your package, you may have received some lemon, and right now is actually a great time to go ahead and give that a try. I would actually recommend for this one, you can just go ahead and put it in the palm of your hand again, right? So if you got one of those little drams, then you may have to let me see, let me get it out here. you're going to have to bend it and do the double tap. Okay, so when you have the top off, you have to spank it. Actually, you have to go spank, spank, right? I don't know if you can see the little drops drop in. So that ends up being about a third of the drop that would come from the regular one. Whatever your particular thing is, go ahead and just put some on your hands. Oh, I'm sure that you're already smiling if you're doing this. This is so amazing. You can rub it on your wrists. Now we'll just about to get to the part about why we feel like lemon and the aroma touch were two that we needed to send you. And so we're just about to get into the meat of it. But suffice it to say, as you continue to breathe in for the aromatic kinds of things, it is definitely very uplifting to the mood, invigorating, energizing, and depending on really all of these are going to be really good for helping you breathe and maintain clear airways, but especially the breathe is good too. Okay, so topical, you, especially like we mentioned with that aroma touch, you may want those localized benefits. And so diluting it with fractionated coconut oil is going to be so good to help the essential oils stay in your tissues. Now, we do want all of our essential oils to positively affect our physiology and to be able to permeate those cells and just cause all the right things to happen inside our cells. But sometimes if you've got a really sore lower back, or if your hips are super bothering you, or if the ligaments that are around your tummy, keeping all the placenta and everything in place, all those things, you will want to try a diluted form of the fractionated coconut oil so that you get more of the localized benefits. And so we can tell you guys more about that. We love the deep blue for achy muscles and joints. It's such a great massage for any of those kinds of things. I also like to have Digestin. In fact, I think that Natalia has a story about using that to really avoid some of the nausea that often accompanies pregnancy or any other kind of time frame. And heartburn, which is also, while you have babes inside, they may be causing all those little tubes that are supposed to, go straight down. It just doesn't seem to go the same way when you're growing a little person inside by all those organs. Okay, internal would be the third way. And we would use that either using a drop in water or in veggie caps or even directly under your tongue. Such a great cleanser. And frankincense, you guys probably have heard of before about how much it helps cells perform optimally. You may also hear a little bit about immortelle, which frankincense is the main ingredient in immortelle. And that's the kind of thing that you guys are going to want around when you're looking at scarring and at stretch marks and at perineum healing and all the things. So those would be some things that you guys are going to want to take a look at for sure. Okay, I'm going to now switch over to talking about essential oils and pregnancy. We already covered a couple of these things. This handout here, I am happy to send to you if this would be something that you feel like you want to look over further. I will give you guys details about how to connect with me, and this will be a freebie for you to be able to get your hands on this. And I think it's packed with some really, really good info. So I hope you guys will take advantage of that. So here's a sample daily routine that you can take a look at, which again, some of this you may want to target your specific needs. This is just a good sample. It's not like the overall recommendation for every single person. Here's something that you guys may not be aware of. So doTERRA is actually a essential oil company, is kind of how we're touted, but it turns out that doTERRA actually is a little bit of a one-stop shop when you're talking about things that are health-based. And so we look at nutrition as well. And in fact, the number one selling product that doTERRA has is not essential oils. It's actually the lifelong vitality supplements, which we very affectionately call LLV, lifelong vitality. Natalia, what do you know about the lifelong vitality supplements?
Well, I know that with this pregnancy, after doing some research, realized that they would be the best supplement for me to take as opposed to any other prenatal that's out on the market. And my favorite thing about them is that even fortunately, the morning sickness has just started going away this past week. But even with my morning sickness, that did not, like the lifelong vitality vitamins, didn't irritate the morning sickness or exacerbate it. So I didn't get sick taking my vitamins, which I know is a big complaint with a lot of women and taking prenatals, especially during that first trimester of pregnancy.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've also been taking them for quite some time. And one of the first things that I noticed about the lifelong vitality supplements was that they didn't turn my pee a neon yellow. And that lets me know that there's not the synthetics, that's not the laboratory derived kind of, junk that most people get, but even seriously, that a lot of the prenatals that are out there are also just not nearly as bioavailable as we want. And so these are the whole food space, like all the things that you look for. Um, People who really know what they're looking for are always impressed with
Mhm.
what lifelong vitality supplements have. And to boot, it really is not expensive, especially when you look at having the omega oils and the alpha CRS combined with the multivitamin. It's really, really a fantastic price. Okay, let me go back to sharing the screen here for a second. Let's see. I know, do you tell us also again about the bone nutrient? I know you have a story about that you feel like is important to share.
Well, I started buying the bone nutrient because one of my children has hip dysplasia and I felt like they could use that extra support for helping their bodies to grow the best way that they can. But I began taking it with this pregnancy because I have struggled with my bones and my teeth being the strongest that they can be. May or may not be related to the fact that I've already made 6 kids. But so this time around, I am also taking the bone nutrient along with the LLV, and I have to say that I can feel a difference. I don't feel like I'm being drained of my mineral nutrients as much as I have been. And so far I haven't had some of the typical symptoms I'm used to having. I mean, I'm still in my first trimester or the end of it, but usually by now I've been suffering from sciatic nerve pain and started getting some muscle cramping and such, and I've had none of that yet so far. So I'm pleasantly surprised.
Mhm.
And I'm attributing at least the non-muscle cramps to the magnesium and the bone nutrient.
I totally agree. Yeah, and I used to use a magnesium spray, which I do love for all of the cramping kind of thing when you wake in the middle of the night.
Mm.
So I do feel like that is really good. But yeah, I think you're right too. Even some of the whole sciatic and stuff like that, because a lot of pain actually registers on through our calcium channels. And so when we have the proper ratio of calcium and magnesium and some of those kinds of minerals. Um, and like you said, during certain times of our life, maybe after having birthed 6 children, then we may need a little extra help in that area. Obviously, the lifelong vitality supplements have a very good amount that's considered ideal, but some of us need a little bit more, don't they? All right, we're gonna squeeze through. I'm not gonna cover all of the things on this handout. I hope that you guys will take advantage of being able to get this in your own hands, print it off. I feel like it's really, really useful. So you may even want to use some paper for it. We're gonna take a look at a couple of recipes and both, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna, um, we are feeling like the cypress, which is involved in aroma touch, is so great for swelling. So if swelling of your feet and ankles and things like that is one of the issues that you have, I think that's a really good one for you to know if you have that aroma touch or cypress. And then you also see the lemon that can go in your water is a great urogenital tract uh, natural, like very super gentle cleanser. So using that on a regular basis is also going to have positive results when you're looking at some of the GBS tests and things like that. There are extra things we can do. Oh, you know what? I actually should show you guys a lot of the really awesome information that we are getting comes from the essential oils for pregnancy, birth, and babies. And this is by midwife Stephanie Fritz. And we both, Natalia and I, like we swap this back and forth whenever, oh, yeah, oh, you got the second edition. I didn't even realize you have a newer edition than mine. Way to go. All right. So any of you watching are probably going to want to get your hands on this or borrow it from somebody who's not currently pregnant, because honestly, I have lent this out to like 6 other moms. It becomes really, really solid in terms of getting the education that you need so that you can actually use the tools that you have and keep that ideal of not wanting to go into the medical model if you don't have to, and just being empowered to take care of things, right where you're at. So this is how we're taking a look at some of these recipes. And not all of these are exactly what's in the book. There's a couple different ways you can do different things. And so if you don't have geranium or you don't have ylang ylang, like that's okay. We can help you figure out some substitutes. So stretch marks are often an issue. So I mentioned frankincense already. Notice that wild orange, which you guys may have received the sample of, is also here. And you also have directions here about how to combine it with a fractionated coconut oil, or any oil is fine. If you're going to do that with even jojoba oil or almond oil or whatever thing it may be. A belly butter, which I know that was one of my things about, I used to get such bad itchies over my over my stomach while it was stretching. Oh, I couldn't stop itching many times. And so having something to be able to apply on those like the very itchiest kind of areas is so great. We have a pregnancy brain blend with every time I see vetiver, I always think I need to go ahead and mention to you guys also, there are some beautiful, beautiful stories about what doTERRA is doing in we call it co-impact sourcing initiative. And so the way that doTERRA sources these oils is so different from what you typically see. There's such a big push for being able to have a very sustainable and community focused. Actually, I mean, in many cases, they actually pay something like 8 times the going rate to the people who are harvesting this, yet they are still able to maintain the super high source to you, transparent, no no deficiency in the purity, but they are doing so much for our global economy, for the people who are harvesting and just being so responsible with the earth. And it's beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, so vetiver being one of the ingredients in here, I just used it last night. I had a couple of my kiddos come in, and my youngest now is 5, and so when they come in and can't sleep or have a bad dream or something that's wrong, one of my first go-tos is I don't even have to get out of bed anymore. Honestly, they come, I swipe something on the back of their neck, and like within a minute, and I'll go check on them after they go lay down, but I found now I don't even have to follow them back to their bed. Natalia, you told me you had something like that happen recently too, right?
One of my sons my 7-year-old had a night terror a couple days ago, and I don't even think he was fully awake because he didn't remember it the next morning, but he was kind of walking around in a panic. He would sit down and stand back up, and he was really jittery and sweaty, and he was talking about the man with a joke face or something like that. And I got some copaiba in him, and I could see him relax within less than a minute, and he said he was okay after that, and he went right back to bed, and he was asleep like it never happened. And it was really gratifying to see how impactful that was. It was like you could see before your eyes, and he just relaxed and was ready to go back to sleep.
So good. Oh, Copa Eva is definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, I really wish I'd had that one during some of my previous pregnancies. I only got to the advantage of essential oils during my fifth pregnancy. Not just kidding. I'm not, it's my fifth child, but it's only my third pregnancy. I got two as bonus kids because my husband's first wife died from breast cancer. But of my 3 tummy children, my last one, who's 5, I just considering all the differences of pregnancy and how many tools I now have in my toolbox compared to when I had the other ones. It just is really. Yeah, I wish I could give that gift to every mom. Honestly, I really do. It makes such a big difference, right? And that's what we're doing here. That's why we're here telling you guys about some of these tips, because we want you to be empowered. Like this is like the coolest. And when you have the things that you need at your fingertips, it's hard not to share. All right, so we have blood pressure optimization. This actually, has definitely had some good results. I, can't tell every story, but all right. So vein health. Here's another thing that you guys may also have some issues with. And notice that cypress is here again. Well, yeah, like you'll see a lot of repeaters here. Like you see a lot of the different cypress ones. We see frankincense in several places. The wild orange, the lavender, things like that. So here's a couple ideas.
Another thing about essential oils being affordable, a lot of them have multiple uses. You don't need a different oil for every little thing. The oils affect a lot of the parts of the body.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So even if you're only budget wise able to start with a couple, just a handful with your account, that is going to be better than if don't have any at all. Or here's the other thing that happens. Sometimes people get a bunch of oils and they think they're getting a deal because they got them from Walmart or whatever, but they don't do anything. So that's sucky. Or if you get them but you don't really know how to use them. And so I'm a big believer that you have to actually have that education so that you know what to actually do with them so they can have the good effect. All right, here's a couple ideas about some targeted support. We did mention that having lemon in your drinking water is really, really great. There are also a couple, like if you guys don't know much about the reflexology, using essential oils combined with that is very, very effective to get some big results. A stress reliever. The Serenity oil has lavender in it and also has vetiver in it, which we were just looking at, about how it's sourced from Haiti and is a beautiful co-impact sourcing story. And there's many of these things. So even if you only have the wild orange that we sent you, that's a great stress reducer in and of itself, right? So all these things are great. Morning sickness. Here's a couple tips to take a look at. And then I think, Natalia, you had some experiences with it as well, right?
Yeah, I use peppermint a lot. Just smelling it was very helpful in helping everything just kind of relax. And the other one is I would try in that book that we were showing before, it said to put cardamom behind your ears or on the back of your neck, and that was soothing as well. So those were my 2 go-tos when the morning sickness was really bad.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, cool. I feel like in many ways I can talk about some of these things for forever, but I'm gonna do just a couple quick tips here. And then I'm gonna help you guys figure out how you get these oils in your home and how you make them useful for you in actual daily life. Okay, so a couple ideas about breast tenderness are combining some lavender with some fractionated coconut oil. And I'll tell you what actually kicked it for me for the breast tenderness. And then later, after I was nursing the mastitis, was I loved Citrus Bliss, right? I think, Natalia, you had said something about that too, right? You love Citrus Bliss as well? Or what
Um,
you had said?
I was just saying that it was a very commonly referenced oil in the book, so it's obviously a heavy hitter for pregnancy.
All right, yeah, we considered actually sending that one out, but even what just plain wild orange is going to do better than nothing. Copaiba, love it, love it, love it. This one mentions the soft gels, but I most often just get the Copaiba oil. And you're gonna, I know it's like a goofy word, and there's a beautiful co-impact sourcing story behind it. But I always think it's from Brazil, and I always think of like arriba, arriba, Copaiba. So that's how I pronounce it, and I like it just in the oil. It mentions here, about the low milk supply. I definitely benefited from having this to kind of perk me up. I'm one of those people who nurses much after the the general time frame for nursing. So most of my kids I did about 3 years. My very last guy I did for 4 years. And so to be able to keep up some milk supply during that time, especially when they're only mostly nursing for like naps and sleep time and stuff like that. This has been really great for that. There's a lot of other solutions too. In fact, let me just really quick bump over here to another freebie that I would love to be able to put into your wheelhouse. We have this for birth and postpartum kind of things. There's ideas for you to be able to use. You guys may be screenshotting this, and that's fine too. For contraction support, ideas for mom and baby to bond, especially important if you have to go through a C-section kind of situation. If that's called for, then you want to be able to have some of these kinds of things available for sure. Back labor is yeah, you need all the solutions you can get for that one, right? Post-delivery cramping, that one was a big deal for me. And I believe that I used either this recipe or something just like it, because especially as subsequent pregnancies, when you're done, often you start to feel a lot of that extra pressure, even a couple of days after. It can still kind of get tricky to handle. We have stuff for incision care with that frankincense and the helichrysum. We have some things for breastfeeding, right? I love the fennel, basil, and then copaiba should also be here. It doesn't happen to be on this particular page, but that's okay. Nipple relief is great. And then also if you, like this one is the one that I loved, the citrus bliss for, but lavender, wild orange, frankincense, and tea tree are so good. Okay, back to, yes. Oh, actually, no, there was, tell me, Natalia, what tips you have besides the things mentioned here.
For pregnancy, in general, for if you have edema or swelling, one way that you can prevent that is to make sure that you are hydrating. That's super important, at least 3 to 4 quarts of water every day, whether you have lemon essential oil in there or not. And my second biggest takeaway tip is, especially if morning sickness is something that you struggle with, protein. Protein helps. There's a lot of research and belief surrounding the fact that protein helps keep morning sickness at bay. So if you wake up feeling really sick, eating protein before you go to sleep can be very helpful with that one.
Nice. All right, if you had to choose one oil that you feel like a pregnant mama just can't do without, what would it be?
One oil, I would probably have to say that would be Aroma Touch.
Yeah.
Because it would help, in the first trimester, maybe not quite as helpful, but I think that like towards the second and third, when everything feels super achy and heavy and you're just wanting it to be done, like that would be a lifesaver, just to have it to use all the way through, and even once you get into labor, it could support you throughout the labor process too, but and especially in those second and third trimesters.
For sure, for sure. Yes, I have to totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say you either aroma touch or frankincense, just because I there's so many good things about what you can do with it, but really like when you're in the thick of it, you you just want some relief. And frankincense, you may or may not always be able to see the sense of relief. Well, I don't, it does really do good for the stretch marks, but anyway, yeah. So I love aroma touch. Okay, so it wouldn't really be super fair for me, for you guys to hear about all these amazing experiences and all these great tips and usage things like that if we didn't also tell you how to get some of these in your own home. So I'm going to give you kind of a breakdown of what the easiest ways are. Right, so there's 3 ways that you can get these in your home. Actually, I may even have a little thing of this. So the deal is you can either go with the Nope. Yep, there it is. Okay, you can go retail, which is the most expensive, and wholesale is the next best. And that's the kind of deal where you either do a $35 membership fee and you just, you get all the best products for the best prices, like you would for Costco. And having that open account with doTERRA means that you get 25% below retail. And that is, it's the start of it and it's really great. But then there's below wholesale, which doesn't actually cost more, it actually costs less. You waive the $35 membership fee, and that's how you actually get, well, let me show you this one. I can, right? All right, so here's an example, and don't let this scare you if you're looking at the 485 kind of thing. What actually is happening here is that by waiving the $35 membership fee and getting things that are already kind of set for you, where they've kind of decided these are super, super helpful, you're saving $278.95. Meaning if I just wanted to, with my account, purchase each one of these specific things, I would be paying $278.95 more than you would as you are beginning to open up your account. So it's really pretty cool. Now, this would be an important one to get if you have a very strong feeling about those lifelong vitality supplements that you know for sure that that are going to be more helpful than what you can get from Whole Foods or whatever place. If you're also wanting to change over from using some of the toxic things like the soaps and the toothpaste that have a bunch of like loaded down ingredients with all the parabens and just everything, right? That everything that marks very poorly on the EWG scale. And then you guys, I am really, really impressed with this whole lineup of the essential oils that are included in the Natural Solutions Kit. It's not every single one, but boy, are they good. And you see Aroma Touch here, and you see Balance Visco, so good for calming and things like that. Frankincense is in there, lemons in there, peppermint, of course, the Serenity, right? All these things are super, super great. Now, if that is a price shock for you, there are other choices. I want you to know, in fact, the second one that I would say to kind of focus on here is this one that's called the Home Essentials. And the reason that was so great is because that Copaiba, which oh man, is just so, so great. I mean, you guys saw at a glance what it does for restless legs, what it does for man, all the things, right? I can't even list them all off. But this really is a fantastic setup for someone who is pregnant, and especially being able to have that diffuser right there with you so that you and hubs and newborn babe can all benefit from some of the effects of some of these things. Would just be magical. There are obviously other options that can help fit each budget. And I really feel like that's something specific that I enjoy working with people to kind of say, like, what is it for your individual situation that you need solutions for? In fact, that's actually what I would say is like the next part of what, oops, I think I forgot to share. Let me go back here. Oh, now it was the wrong thing. Here we go. So, I like to help people figure out based on their top health concerns, let's get you some recommended protocols and so that we can set you up for success and find the solutions that you really need to have. And here's something else that you may also want to know. There are three types of people that end up loving doTERRA. And the first type is just interested in living a wellness lifestyle, just getting those toxins out, just supporting the body in its natural processes. And if that's you, awesome, because 85% of all the people who love doTERRA only ever use the product just like this. And that is fantastic. And so doTERRA supports that kind of person with all sorts of education. And then, of course, you get Natalia and I to be able to assist you with some of these extra questions. We have Facebook groups. We actually have a community that we're just trying to get back into meeting together, which, face to face, which is so much fun, and monthly kind of like topic of interest kind of things that keeps you guys always learning just little bits, so that you have an actual like hands-on ability to use the things that you have in your home for the solutions that you need them for. Okay, and so some people can't help but share. That turned out to be me. I ended up always, when I'm at homeschool groups or things like that, I'm always handing out some Clary-Calm to somebody who's got cramps and they've already taken their allotment of ibuprofen or whatever thing it may be. And then eventually I did end up realizing that I am meant to build a community of moms who are empowered enough to empower their kids. And so I've also learned how I want to be able to make an impact and earn an income. So that may also be an option that you would be interested in. If you're one of those types of people, you'll need to let me know as well. So here we are at the end, kind of. And again, I want to be able to make sure that you know how to get these oils in your home. So here's my idea. This here is my phone number. It's 407-919-8855. And I would like you to text me one of these digits, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And you can see actually, can you see? Maybe I need to make this a little bit bigger. Your preferences. Can I make this? Let me go. There we go. All right, so this is how you are going to be able to let me know how I can help you. Either let me know you already have this account and you only watched this and are joining in this discussion because you want the extra tips about pregnancy or about birth and postpartum. So I can send that to you, right? And if you have your account and you have some questions, go ahead and send me it too. That's going to help me put you on my schedule. We can get you a wellness consult so that you're able to get the things that you need from doTERRA that you already have your account set up for. Send me a 3 if you're ready to get started. Again, I love the Natural Solutions Kit, but the Healthy Home may be better, or I can find something that is more specific for you, which would be the number 4. I'm interested, but I have a few questions. And the number 5, I'm interested, but not now. Keep me in mind. That's another really important one. Or 6, which would be great class, but I'm not into this voodoo magic, right? And that's okay too. I don't have to convince everybody that essential oils are for them. I just need to equip the people who really need it. All right, Natalia, what kind of extra goodbye would you like to say, or any last tidbit to leave with our people watching?
I guess I would just say that if this is your first time hearing or learning about essential oils, it might sound overwhelming, especially if you were looking at some of the recipes that had, 10 drops of like 5 different oils that you may or may not have ever heard of. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming, because honestly, the truth is you could buy 1 bottle of oil and it could change your life. You don't have to buy all the oils. You can slowly build up a collection, or even just stick with 1 bottle for a while. And when I first started using essential oils, my budget was tiny. I've got a lot of kids and we are a 1-income household. So we started with just a few oils and slowly built a collection that is pretty nice now. And I learned how to use all the oils as they came into the house, but each oil had so many different uses on its own. And so I was, they made such a big impact. Even just 1 bottle, they changed our family's life very quickly. So don't be intimidated by prices or names or blends or how many oils we talked about. Like just talk to Amanda and she'll help you get started, even if it's just one bottle of lemon oil, which I think retails for something like $14. So
So true. Yes. And I am very, very willing to work with people. And it's definitely a joy. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely get in touch with us by sending that text, and we will be consistent about following up with you. And hope you had a fantastic less than an hour. It was high value for you. All right. Bye.
bye.